Ceann Comhairle, the announcement this afternoon of the resignation of Taoiseach and Fine Gael leader Leo Varadkar brings us to a critical moment in Irish politics. The decision of who now leads government as Taoiseach must be placed in the hands of the people. The decision of who is in government must be placed in the hands of the people. And today's announcement can have only one conclusion: the calling of a general election. You have stated that it is your time to go and that you are not the person for the job. It's clear that it's time for this entire government to go, to allow the people to have their say and to allow the election of a new government. The very idea that the Fine Gael Parliamentary Party would gather in conclave to reshuffle the office of An Taoiseach, the highest office in the land, without the people having their say is unthinkable. We need a new government that will deliver the change that workers, families and communities so badly want. A government that will fix housing and, instead of going round in circles, will make sure that a generation can put a secure, affordable roof over their heads and rekindle the aspiration of home ownership for ordinary people. A government that will fix our health service, ensure that you can see a doctor when you're sick, end the scandal of patients on hospital trolleys, get children off waiting lists and into operating theatres for life-changing surgery, and guarantee that you can get the care you need in the right place and at the right time. A government that will give our young people a chance, the chance of building a good and prosperous life and future here in Ireland, instead of being forced far away to seek opportunity in the United States, Australia and Canada, to achieve crucially change and build pathways home for those who so desperately want to come back. Ceann Comhairle, Ireland has changed and is changing. All around we see the signpost to the new republic that this generation is shaping, a generation determined to achieve the Ireland denied our parents and grandparents before us, not held back by the past, but rising to a modern vision of the Ireland that can be. This is a time for fresh leadership, a time for change, not just a change of Taoiseach, but a change of government and a change of direction. Tá sé in am don ahrú, ní hamháin ahrú Taoiseach, ach ahrú rialtais agus ahrú tro don tír. Fine Gael have been in government for far too long. Ireland had one of the highest rates of home ownership in Europe when Fine Gael came to office in 2011. That has now collapsed. They have failed on housing, on health, and failed to tackle the cost of living. They're out of touch, have run out of ideas and have run out of time. Another Fine Gael Taoiseach is not what people want. Fine Gael, Fianna Fáil and the Green Party, this government has now run out of steam and run out of road. So rather than limping on in a caretaker capacity, go to the Phoenix Park and ask Uachtaráin na hÉireann for a dissolution of the Dáil, and let's go to the people. They decide who leads.
Thanks very much, Deputy. Just to be clear, I have resigned as Fine Gael President and Leader today. I haven't resigned as Taoiseach, but that will follow. Our Constitution, and it is the People's Constitution, is very clear on this. The Office of President is directly elected. The Office of Taoiseach is not. The Office of Taoiseach is elected by this Dáil Éireann, which is elected every 5 years. And it's not unprecedented for the Dáil to elect a new Taoiseach during its term. That's how I succeeded Enda Kenny. That's how Brian Cowan succeeded Bertie Ahern. It's how Jack Lynch succeeded Sean Lemass, and indeed there are many other examples in our 100 years of democracy where a Taoiseach changed without there being a general election. We even have one example where an entire government changed, and that is when John Bruton became Taoiseach after Albert Reynolds. So there's nothing unusual about any of this. It is in our Constitution, the People's Book, and has happened historically on many occasions. The three party leaders met last night. I met my good colleagues and friends, Micheál Martin and Damon Ryan, and it is our view that this government goes on. This is a Dáil that was elected by the people. This is a government that was elected by this Dáil in 2 different formats, and this is a government that has a programme for government that will continue. And rather than having an election will happen in due course, but rather than having an early election, we want to continue to focus on the issues that are at hand, like housing, for example, like the cost of living, like managing migration better, like our health service, and also law and order. And just in relation to the issue of housing, Deputy, again, the misleader strikes again. Home ownership in percentage terms is not far off what it was in 2011. In absolute terms, it's higher. 1.2 million people in Ireland now own their own home. Have a look at the census. You may choose or not to choose for not stated, but the percentage of home ownership has been in the high 60s in 2011. It's much where it was then. We are getting on top of the issue of the cost of living. Inflation is coming down. We now see incomes rising faster than prices are, which means real living standards are improving again, and we're seeing energy bills fall, and we will see, I believe, interest rates fall during the course of the year, which we welcome to a lot of people, particularly those who have mortgages. And in the health service, we see now, for the first time in a very long time, waiting list falling, 2 years now in a row, and we intend this year to be the 3rd year. So the work of government goes on. A political party is always bigger than any one man or woman, and a government is always bigger than the person who leads it. And we'll honour the Constitution and honour our mandate and continue our work.
Of course, any government must be reliant in the first instance on the democratic mandate of the people. So if you are so confident in your achievements, as you stand down as leader of Fine Gael and Taoiseach, if you're confident of that record, well then go to the people and hear what they have to say. We're at times of huge opportunity, huge challenge too, and I cannot imagine a time when it was more important for the people to have full confidence in the government that is in place, full confidence in the Taoiseach that leads that government. And in my strong opinion, that confidence of the people can only be demonstrated, tested and validated through the ballot box. And so I put it to you again, that rather than limping on, and rather than passing the office of Taoiseach amongst yourselves again, the correct democratic route at this point is to go to the people, put your record before them, and all of us to ask them in a spirit of humility who should lead. That is the democratic way to proceed.
Deputy, there's very little humility in any of your contributions, very little. You possess many qualities. Humility is definitely not one of them, Deputy McDonald. And as often you are a master of misinformation. There will be a general election within a year. There has to be. I spoke to the President today after I made my statement. I look forward to seeing him in the next couple of days or couple of weeks as appropriate. I've also spoken to the party leaders, did so last night, and the view of the 3 government parties, which constitute a majority of this duly and democratically elected Dáil, is that the government's work should continue, and it will.
Thank you.